Welcome back to the Oxendine Law Podcast. Jarrod Oxendine
Christine Balmer.
and today we're talking about life after divorce, specifically rebuilding your life after divorce. Divorce is one of the biggest life transitions we have, but while the legal process itself is important, how you rebuild your life, both financially, socially, emotionally, is just important. So today we're going to give you lots of good, helpful tips on how you can best rebuild and start your new life after divorce. Christine.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have this concept of divorce being something that was sort of imposed on them, right? Like, so you suffered through this divorce and it's like, how do I recover? Like, I see that a lot of my clients are the opposite. Like, they initiated this because they want better. So, for those clients, this process is a little more exciting because you've been looking forward to it. You've kind of had this concept of life after divorce built up in your head. You don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but it's similar to think about when you were in school and graduation. Like you don't hate school, but like imagine what life's going to be like after graduation. Is this something to look forward to? So you have those clients, and then you have the other clients who it sort of was imposed on them in a way. Maybe they also knew it was time and they needed it, but they weren't the one that initiated. Maybe they were caught a little bit off guard, even though you knew like maybe it was coming. You didn't know it's coming right now, or you thought, oh, he'll wait till the kids grow up, et cetera, et cetera. Like there was going to be some point in the future that this would happen, and instead it happened now. So there's a range of people that have to figure out sort of how they're going to rebuild. But the good news is we have resources for each and every one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I would say embrace your freedom, embrace your newly found independence, embrace your new fresh start. And if you're one of those people that like there's no tomorrow and you can't see through the forest because of the trees, think about this. How many times in your life have you had a door close? And at the time the door closes, you're like, it's the end. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And then you give it a little time and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm glad that happened.
Sure.
Look where I am now. Divorce is no different. It gives you the ability to control your own money, spend how you want to, not be micromanaged, set your new budget, make your own purchases the way you want to purchase, live your life the way you want to live your life. And guess what? You're going to meet new people. You're going to interact with new people. New people are going to come into your life. And if you're embracing that newly found independence and freedom with confidence, you're going to look really attractive to a lot of folks. Just don't make the mistake of jumping in the bed too quickly with the next person. And when I say in bed, I'm not necessarily saying in bed. That might be okay. I'm saying tying the knot again too quickly,
Right.
because then you may find yourself in the same situation again if you're not smart. Embrace and take control of that really new leash on life. It's actually an opportunity for a new, fresh start.
First of all, you can't say after divorce, I'm going to be this person. I personally have been through a divorce and I know exactly what I'm talking about. I had an idea of who I would be if I was single. I truly did. And I'm not that girl. And it's not anything that I didn't. It's just you can't know till you get there. It's like moving to a new city. Let's say you've traveled to a city multiple times. You're like, gosh, I really love Charlotte, North Carolina. This place is so cool. And when you traveled to Charlotte, you stayed downtown. You were near the Bank of America building and you went to a game here or there. You went to a concert and then you moved there later because you're like, I love Charlotte. Charlotte is not what you think Charlotte is if you've only visited. And that's the best way I can explain life after divorce. Single life is not single life it was before. And that's for a lot of reasons, not just because I was younger before. I was in a different stage in my life before. I've never been this person before. So I think the possibilities are endless when it comes to sort of redefining yourself and finding who you will be post-divorce. Because I'm not single Christine like I was single Christine prior to being married. Like I'm post-divorce Christine in the best way possible.
Yeah, you're your new best version of yourself. And, I say this, I would say for the most part, and we all have the clients where they can't emotionally put it behind them and they're worried if they're going to be okay. And we always tell them they're going to be okay. And 99% of the time they actually are. Like we'll get emails back from them or phone calls like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I did that as long as I did.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing this now. I'm kicking butt. I'm the boss lady or I'm the boss man. And I'm just like living my best life ever. That's usually the phone calls we get.
Yeah.
However, there are some exceptions with people that just can't ever put it past them. And that really, at that point, I think is more of like a psychological issue. And for those folks, you need counseling.
You do. Like, I encourage it for sure if you're not embracing the new version of you, because sometimes it's just a roadblock of not knowing how. You may want to. You may think, gosh, what Christine's saying sounds amazing. I want to do that. I want to just decide who I am post divorce. I didn't have a lot of those emotional roadblocks. I have the absolute pleasure of still being friends with my former husband. I don't use the term ex-husband. It sounds so derogatory. My former husband, we're still really good friends, but that doesn't mean I didn't go through, some emotional changes, definitely huge lifestyle changes. I mean, just imagine going from a dual income, no kids household to not only a single income household, but way more expenses than I had before. Like, my husband was amazing at doing all the yard work, all of the pool, handled our own pest control, things that I didn't necessarily, I didn't take advantage of them then, but we just made it work. So I now have half of the income and 20% more of the expenses than I had before. We had a bundled car insurance plan. So now I'm insuring my vehicle on my own. So a lot of financial changes, come with all of that. So that can take a toll. Like, even the most optimistic people like me can suddenly see these things mounting up, but you can either fall into those and be depressed about that, or you can say, okay, like, I'll figure it out how to do it, and not let that be depressed. Like, a lot of it is really just sort of your outlook and what you want for yourself. And if you don't have that mentality, do seek some help, because it's in there. I don't know anybody in the world who it isn't in there somewhere. It's just, do you have the roadblocks preventing you from accessing that part of your brain or your personality? And if you do, just get the help.
That's right. And how about some practical tips for people on how to rebuild their social life? I mean, for example, take the opportunity to reconnect with some old friends.
Yeah.
You may have been in a situation where you were actually not allowed to go out with your friends or connect with, or, your husband would get up mad when you're on the phone talking to your girlfriend, or roll his eyes when you're planning a girls' trip. Hey, this is an opportunity for you to reconnect with those friends. Do the things you weren't able to do. Get involved in some new hobbies. Find different things in the community that you can get involved with. I mean, there's just so many things you can do to start a brand new social life, but be careful, because I'm telling you, when you're this confident person and you've got this new leash on life and you're in control and you're out having fun and you're involved in this group and that group and you're social butterfly, you're going to attract a lot of butterfly catchers.
It's an attractive place to be, and, like, I mean, and with every bit of attention that you receive, like, it gets a little bit more and a little bit more. Even if you're not out there looking for a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend, seeing people react to you in a positive light is intoxicating.
It's flattering.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
flattering. And that person, that version of you has probably been hidden for a long time, because a lot of people, when they're in that unhealthy of a relationship that's necessitating them to get a divorce, not everybody, but a lot of people, like, you're unrecognizable.
Sure, I
Like, you
mean,
go out in public and you're the person walking around with like a drapery over your head, right? And you're just hiding and you're not visible and you're not being seen. And
right.
when you get this transformation, you come out like you're glowing, right? And people see that. So be careful with that, because that can be fun, right? But my next tip is going to be, use that wisely, right?
Sure.
Um, if you're going to start a new relationship with somebody, do it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to sound like your mom or your dad, right? And we're not talking about just sex. I'm talking about getting in a new committed relationship with somebody, right? Don't make the same mistake this time that maybe you made the last time.
Right.
You're in no rush. There's no rush to get remarried, right? You don't need that person, right? You're independent. If you're going to commit to somebody, make sure for the right reasons. Check them out. Know their history. I'm serious. Know their finances.
Yeah.
Know what baggage they bring to the table, whether it's ex-spouses, kids,
Mm.
their extended family members, right? I mean, take your time, make sure this person checks all the boxes. And this is not a traditional piece of advice. It's a lot of people would look at me and frown upon me for saying this. Maybe live with the person for a little while before you get married, right? Because you'd be surprised how, like, the things you notice about people that you didn't know when you actually live with them,
Sure.
that sometimes can be a relationship ruiner.
Right.
So you might want to try that out for a while before you commit to selling your house and getting married and moving in with a person.
Right. I mean, we say, like, the rebound person, like it's kind of like a social joke, but it's not. I mean, you almost do. It breaks my heart to see any of our clients who are going through a divorce, and, like, they're starting to recognize and realize what they don't want or like in their spouse. And not necessarily just about him or her. Like, I don't want a man who does this. I don't want to be with a woman who does that. So just because the first person that comes along sort of checks those little boxes doesn't mean they're the only option. And I think people also have this concept of like, well, I'm too old to just date around now. You should not. If you're post divorce, I don't care of your age or your gender or your status in life, you should probably not be searching for a spouse. You shouldn't. You should be searching for yourself, period. And if that a person comes in and they are spouse worthy, cool, maybe test drive that. But I see the biggest failures post divorce that I see are people who get divorced and then turn around and start searching for their next spouse because they end up settling.
Divorce is the end of one chapter, but folks, it's also the beginning of a new chapter. Embrace your life after divorce. Enjoy your freedom. Enjoy your independence. Enjoy the new version of yourself. If we can help you in any way, reach out to us. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you subscribe on your favorite platform. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. That way you'll be the first to get updates on any new episodes and any other information we may release. As always, we enjoy our time with you. We'll see you next week.